This video covers Lesson 1-5 Warm-Up for Secondary 1 Math, solving multi-step linear equations. Number 1. So I'm going to go ahead and draw a line down from the equal sign to help me separate my equation into the two expressions. Then I look at each expression and make sure they're simplified completely, and on the left that's simplified as much as it can be. On the right, also simplified. So now I'm going to do the opposite of what's happening to x. So I'll subtract 4 from both sides of our equation, and that leaves us with 3/5 x, or 3/5 times x, is equal to -9. Next, I will need to do the opposite of multiplying by 3/5 and divide by 3/5, or, since it's a fraction, it's kind of nice sometimes to multiply by the reciprocal, or 5/3. Now what this does is this gives us 5 times 3, which is 15, over 3 times 5, which is 15. So we have 15 divided by 15 times x, or 1 times x, which is just x. On the right, we can think of this as -9 over 1 times 5 over 3, which is -45 over 3. Well, that might not be the easiest thing to do. I mean, we could put it in our calculators, or we can think about what is 45 divided by 3. And we'll put a negative out in front. We know it's going to stay negative. Or, let's see, two numbers that add together to give us 45 are 30 and 15. 30 divided by 3 is 10, and 15 divided by 3 is 5. So we get -15. So just putting it in set notation, we say that the set x such that x equals -15. Okay, so number 2, go ahead again and let's draw a line down from that equal sign and simplify each expression in our equation. So on the left, we're first going to need to distribute the -5. So -5 times 2v's is -10v's. Then -5 times -6 is 30. And then we're going to add the 7v's, bring that down, equals, and on the right it's already simplified, so we leave it at 3. Next, we're going to go ahead and look for anything else to simplify, and we can combine like terms. We got -10v's plus 7v's, so we get -3v's plus 30 is equal to 3. Now that we can't simplify either side of our equation any further, we're going to do the opposite of what's happening to our variable v. So we're going to subtract 30 from both sides of the equation and get -27 on the right and -3v's on the left. Now -3v's is -3 times v, and so we're going to divide by -3, doing the opposite of multiplying by it. So divide by -3 on both sides of the equation, and we get v is equal to 9. So in set notation, we write this as the set v such that v equals 9. Alright, number 3. Again, let's go ahead and draw our line down from the equal sign, and we're going to look to simplify either side of our equation. So the expression on the left, 15, simplified as much as it can be. On the right, we can simplify because we have a -3b's plus 5b's, and those are like terms. So we can write 15 is equal to 2b's minus 1. Now that we've simplified as much as we can on either side of the equation, we're going to do the opposite of what's happening to our variable. So we'll add 1 to both sides of the equation, which gives us 16 is equal to 2b's. And next we're going to do the opposite of multiplying b by 2 and divide it by 2. So we get 8 equals b. In set notation, we write it as the set b such that b equals 8. Okay, number 4. Again, let's go ahead and draw our line down. Now we have our two expressions, and both of them are simplified as much as they can be. So we're going to go ahead and do the opposite of what's happening to our variable g. So we're going to start out here by adding 2.5 to both sides of our equation. And that gives us g divided by 4 is equal to 7.5. Next, we have g divided by 4. Doing the opposite of that, we're going to multiply by 4. And we have to do that to both sides of our equation. So we get g equals 30. Set notation, we write the set g such that g equals 30. Number 5. Again, let's go ahead and draw our line down from the equal sign and look for simplifying either side of our equation. The left side, simplified. The right side, simplified. So we're going to do the opposite of what's happening to our variable x. So we're going to subtract 1/4 from both sides of our equation, which gives us 1/2 is equal to 6x's, or 6 times x. Now here we have a fraction on the left. We naturally want to divide by 6 to do the opposite of multiplying by 6. But then we have a fraction divided by an integer. And so we're going to actually multiply by the reciprocal of 6, which is 1/6, to both sides of our equation. And what that does is if we do 6 times 1, we get 6 divided by 6 is 1. So we just get x, or 1 times x, which is x. And on the left, we get 1 times 1 over 6 times 2, which is 12. So x equals 1/12. In set notation, we say the set x such that x equals 1/12. Alright, last one on our warm-up, number 6. We're going to draw our line down from the equal sign. And notice we have a distributive property here, so we're going to do 1/4 times b, which is 1/4 b. And then we're going to do 1/4 times -12, which is -3. Now I included this sign in front of the 12 when I was talking about it. And then we're going to add 15, and that's going to give us 2. Now there's still some simplifying we can do on the left, so we're going to combine our like terms, -3 and 15, which results in us having 1/4 b plus 12 equal to 2. Now that we've simplified both sides of our equation, we're going to go ahead and do the opposite of what's happening to our variable. So we're going to subtract 12 from both sides of the equation, which results in 1/4 b being equal to -10. And next we want to do the opposite of multiplying by 1/4, which is dividing by 1/4, but instead we'll multiply by the reciprocal, which is 4/1. And that gives us b is equal to -40. Set notation, we write it the set b such that b equals -40. So that concludes this video covering Lesson 1-5 warm-up for Secondary 1 Math, solving multi-step linear equations.